Have you ever crushed your to-do list, hit your numbers, checked every single box on a Sunday night planner, and still gone to bed feeling empty? I have, more times than I'd like to admit. Here's what I've learned. And it took me longer than it should have, I must admit. Most of us, though, don't have a productivity problem. We have an identity problem. And until we deal with the identity, no calendar, no morning routine, no system in the world is going to fix it. Because what's actually broken isn't the systems, it's your identity. So stick with me until the end because I'm going to give you one principle, one practice, and one movement that, if you'll just take it seriously this week, I believe will change how you show up at work, at home, in your own head. You've ever gotten in your own head? I know I have. You guys, welcome to the Kingdom Family Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Velasquez. And if you are tuning in for the first time, first off, welcome. Thank you. I'm so glad you are here. This is the place where we are restoring God's original intent and design for the marriage, family, and the home. And do me a favor, if this is your first episode, hey, hit follow, hit subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening. And if you've been with me before or for a while, hey, send this one to somebody who needs it. That's how we grow. That's how this movement spreads. Okay, let's jump into this. Today's episode is called Identity Before Output. And I'm going to give you the principle, the practice, and the movement you can take into not only today, but the rest of the week and really beyond. But before I do, let me set this up. You ever notice the first question we ask somebody? You meet somebody at a dinner party, at a kid's soccer game, on a plane. What's the first question? So what do you do, right? It's the question. And here's the problem or the challenge with that question. We answer it with a title. We answer it with a role. We answer it with output. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a coach. I'm a CEO. I'm a business owner. I'm a stay-at-home parent. I'm a pastor. And listen, none of those are bad answers. They're just not the answer because what you do is not who you are. I'll say it again. What you do is not who you are. But here's what most of us have done, and I'm including myself in this. We have flipped the order. We have built our identity on top of our output. We perform, we produce, we hustle, we grind, we build. And then, based on how that goes, we tell ourselves who we are. Hit the goal, I'm a winner. Miss the goal, I'm a failure. Make the sale, I'm worthy. If you lose the deal, I'm not enough. That's not identity. That is a scoreboard. And let me tell you something about scoreboards. Scoreboards, they're honest, but they're brutal. And if your identity is sitting on a scoreboard, you are one bad quarter away from a full-blown identity crisis. Let's be honest. I'll be honest with you. There was a season where I was doing exactly that. And babe, if you're listening, if my wife is listening to this, she's going to remember. And essentially, it's where things were based on output. I was crushing it on paper per se. I was building. I was hitting goals. The output was there. But what was happening, unbeknownst to me, really, because I was so focused on output, is I was bringing not the best of me home. I was beginning to lose who I was. So I was sharp with my kids. I was becoming distant with my wife, or better yet, I was settling with where I was at as being enough. See, I was running on fumes, not even recognizing it, spiritually, emotionally, even physically at times. And I couldn't figure out why. You know why? Because I had built my identity on what I was producing, and I knew better. See, and when the production was up, when all of that came to a screeching halt, I was up. When the production was down, I was down. See, in my family, my wife and my 4 kids, they were riding that same roller coaster with me, and they didn't sign up for it. I had to learn. I'm still learning, by the way, and I'm not above any of this. I had to learn that my identity had to come from somewhere that doesn't move, somewhere that doesn't fluctuate based on a Monday or a Friday, a vacation or no vacation, somewhere that was true about me before I ever did one productive thing in this life. That place, by the way, is in Ephesians. In Ephesians 1, verse 4 and 5, it says this, and I'm paraphrasing, by the way, a little so it lands. And it says, chose us in him before the foundations of the world. Think about that. He predestined us for adoption to himself as sons, him being God, by the way. Read that again. Before the foundation of the world, before you had a job, before you had a title, before we had a follower count, before you could close a single deal, before you ever said I do, before you ever had kids, before you got the diploma, the promotion, the platform, he chose you. He chose and accepted you. He adopted you. Your identity was settled before your output ever started. Imagine that. Think about that for a minute. Let that sit. Before you ever did anything, your identity was settled in him. You know who has talked about this in their own way more than maybe anybody? Athletes, especially the great ones. The ones who reached the top. Here's what happens to elite athletes. They build their entire identity on the game. Not all of them. The performance, the numbers, the rings, the records, and then one day the body says no more. And they're staring at retirement going, if I'm not the player anymore, who am I? Some of them figure it out, of course. Some of them don't. And the ones that don't, listen, I'm not going to get off on a rabbit trail and start naming names, but you've read the headlines. You've seen the documentaries. The output ended and they didn't know who they were underneath it. That's not just an athlete problem. That's a human problem. That's an entrepreneur problem. That's a parent problem. That's a Christian problem because the church is full of people whose identity is built on what they do for God instead of who they are to God. Tough one to hear, but true. So let me ask you, and I want to be honest, not with me, with you. Okay. I want you to be honest with you, not me, because this is something you're going to do to yourself. Is you're going to answer the question, not me. Who are you when the platform isn't applauding? Who are you when the deal falls through? Who are you when the kids are melting down and the calendar is wrecked and the launch flop, right? And the inbox is buried? Who are you on the random Tuesday in February when nothing notable happens? Because that, my friend, that random Tuesday, that's where identity actually lives. It's not on the highlight reel. It's not in the ring light. It's right there in the mundane when nobody's clapping. Trust me. And if you don't know who you are on that Tuesday, listen, that's not a productivity problem at all. It's an identity problem. And no system fixes that. Okay, so let me give you the principle, the practice in the movement, right? Because this is so important. I want you to always have this foundation to implement into your everyday life on a weekly, biweekly, and monthly and beyond basis, right? So the one principle is this: what you produce flows from who you believe you are. Or another way to put that is output is downstream from identity. I'll say it again. Output is downstream of identity. If you don't get the identity right, the output will eventually betray you. It'll either become an idol when it's going well or an indictment when it's not. Either way, it owns you. The practice is this: name your identity before the day names it for you. Name your identity before the day names it for you. Here's what I mean. Most of us, we wake up, we grab the phone, guilty. We check the email, guilty. We scroll the feed, guilty. And within 60 seconds, the world has told us who we are. We are tired. We are behind. We are missing out. We are not enough. We are too much. By the time our feet hit the floor, somebody else has written the headline of our day. Ugh, what a horrible thought. And then we wonder why we feel disoriented all day long. Okay. So the practice is this: before the phone, before the inbox, before the calendar, right? Before the kids get up, maybe and chaos kicks in, you speak identity over yourself out loud if you can, in your journal, if that's your thing, in a prayer, on a walk, in the car, wherever. You name it before the day names it for you. So here's the movement. Your movement for this week is just one sentence. Every morning before anything else, you practice the movement, which is speaking it out and saying, I am chosen, I am accepted, I am fill in the blank with what God says you are, with who he tells you and reminds you you are in your identity. Not what your output says, not what your inbox says, not what your bank account says, not what your kids' attitude on a Tuesday morning says. What does God say? Maybe it's, I am chosen, I am accepted, I am loved. Maybe it's, I am chosen, I am accepted, I am called. I don't know. Maybe it's, I'm chosen, I'm accepted, I am a husband, I am a father, I am a steward. It doesn't have to necessarily be exactly that, but whatever it is God tells you, fill in that blank and bring it to the forefront every single morning before you put your feet to the ground. Fill in the blank, same blank every morning this week. Watch what happens. I'm not promising you a perfect week. I'm telling you that when you start the day with identity in place, the output of the day stops carrying weight it was never meant to carry. Plain and simple. All right, let me land the plane with this. You were chosen, you were accepted before you ever produced anything. Think about that. Before you produced anything, you were already chosen and accepted. That doesn't change based on your last quarter. It doesn't change based on your last conversation with your spouse. It doesn't change based on whether your kids listened the first time you asked them. I know. I don't either. Don't feel bad. Your identity is not a reward for performance. It's the foundation for it. And here's the truth I want you to walk away with. If you build your output on top of your identity, you can take the hits, the bad week, the lost client, the unexpected storm, the hard parenting day, the awkward fight with your spouse. They sting, but they don't shake you because the foundation didn't move. But if you build your identity on top of your output, one bad week, it levels you. So this week, this is the work. Get the foundation right. Speak it, believe it, walk in it. Hear me on this. You are not what you produce. You are not your title. You are not your follower count. You are not your last big win either. And you are not your last big loss. You are chosen, you are accepted, and you are called to live from that. Not for it, but from it. Don't just say it. Don't just nod at it. Live from it. This week, starting today. I have a couple of questions for you before I close this episode. When in your life are you producing, or maybe where in your life are you producing for an identity you already have? I'll say it again. Where in your life are you producing for an identity you already have? And who are you when the platform isn't applauding? Don't answer that fast. Take a minute, sit with it for a day, however long you need to, and let surface what it needs to surface. Don't rush it. Hey, before you go, couple of things. If this episode hits you in the chest, send it to one person. One, the friend, the spouse, your brother, the sister, the business partner who you know is grinding their identity into the ground right now. Send it to them. Second, as always, follow, subscribe, leave a quick review, whether on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening. It's genuinely how we grow. It doesn't take long, but it means the world to me. And third, and lastly, if you haven't yet, hey, sign up for the free KFM 111 weekly reset email. I'll put the link in the show notes below where you can get the one principle, the one practice, and the one movement where we expand on a little bit more every single week, free to your inbox. And you guys, listen, I really appreciate you. Sam Velasquez with the Kingdom Family Movement podcast, and we will see you on the other side. Peace.